and welcome. If you're new to this channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Logan. This is Timeless Personal Growth and Development, and today we're talking about why depression rates are so high in 2021 compared to previous generations. So let's get started. So I was having a debate with a friend of mine a few days ago, and we're talking about how depression rates are so high now in today's day and age, when we're all connected with media, with our phones, with our smartphones, and a big problem with that is our digital age. Why are depression rates so goddamn high in the digital age? And my stance on it was that I think we have it easy. Too easy now. And my friend's stance on it is that we have it too hard now. We have it too difficult because there's so much information, there's so much goddamn knowledge coming into our brains that we got to process all at once, and we haven't had enough time in our digital age for our brains to evolve into this information age, because we're always getting so much stimulation all the goddamn time, and it's hard to keep up with it all the time. And I can see that point, and that we're still trying to adapt and evolve to, because there's so much information at once. And I think about it like this, that our digital age is still in its infancy stages. I mean, we're living in a digital age for what? 30 years? We've had high-tech computers now for 30 years now? And think about how long us as human beings, as a species, were on the plains hunting, gatherings, and hunting animals and picking berries and surviving in that kind of environment. We did that for tens and thousands of years. So if you compare that to living in a digital age where we just go to the grocery store, we just go to Provigo, we just go to the IGA to pick something up. We don't need to go hunt elk. We don't need to go do that stuff now. It's very easy. And I think everything we've gone through in this lockdown and this pandemic in the last year, like, think about a lockdown with these things, with these phones, like, you can basically live your life and build a life through these goddamn things now. Easy. You can manage your finances with this. You can order food on this. You can connect with people on this. You can date on this. You can do anything with this thing. And this thing is also a great cause of depression too, because you think of all the apps, all Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, everything, all the tiny little apps that we have on our phones, video games, TV, Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, all these things are specifically designed to be addictive. That's why video game addiction is problematic now, because it's designed to be addictive. It's supposed to do that to you. You're supposed to get that dopamine hit when you're playing video games. Oh great, I updated my character and now I get to level 4. Awesome. It's made to be addictive. It's made to do that to you. And I was having this discussion with my friend that when I go out into nature, when I disconnect from my phone, I disconnect from all digital stuff, TV, video games, everything. When I go into the woods and I go hiking, I feel liberated. I feel it's kind of like putting a fish back into water. Where you step into the woods, you don't have a phone, you don't have anything, you're not connected, you're just hearing the sounds of the birds, the rustling of the trees, the wind. You're just hearing the crackle of the leaves, crackle of the sticks under your feet. You kind of feel a little bit at home. I know, I feel a little bit at home. A lot of bit at home when I go into the woods, I go into nature. When I go to my country home, I feel fantastic. I feel great. Why? Because we are humans, but we're also animals, and that's where we're made to be. That's where we were brought up as a human species, is in the woods. And my friend is right when he says we haven't had enough time in the infancy of the digital age for our brains to rewire and reconnect and update its programming to catch up with the digital age. Yes, because it's only been 20, 30 years of this. Being hooked and being glued to our phone all day, and then you put your phone down, like, how do you feel? Ask yourself that question. This is a little self-assessment homework for you guys. When you're at home, in front of a screen, all day, glued to your phones, and that day comes to an end, it comes to supper time, how do you feel? How do you feel? Ask yourself that question. Look inside yourself. Self-reflect a little bit. In these lockdowns that we had, and you have nothing to do, and you're at home in front of Netflix all day, and the day comes to an end, how do you feel? I know for me, I don't feel good. I feel terrible. I actually get a little depressed, and I don't sleep well. When I spend the day, when I'm out at my country home, and I'm chopping wood for the fire, and I'm going fishing, and I'm going camping, I'm going hiking, I'm swimming all day, and I'm out in the woods, and being an animal, being a human animal, and doing the things that we were designed, biologically programmed to do, is to be outside, to build, to create, to break glass ceilings, to break personal boundaries for ourselves. I feel fantastic. I feel great. Food tastes better. My sleep is better. I breathe better. Because that's what we've been designed to do. And there's an entire generation now. I don't know if there's a new name for the generation, but I forget what generation I'm in. I forget the names. There's baby boomers, Generation Y, Generation Z, millennials. That's the word. Millennials. So I'm a millennial, and so I grew up with video games, and when video games are just getting started in the early '90s with the Super Nintendo and all that stuff, it's awesome. But yeah, I grew up with all that. As a millennial, I grew up with screens and everything, and I remember being a young teenager, and yeah, being hooked on video games, being hooked on Mario, on Zelda, on GoldenEye, on all the wrestling games I can get my hands on. And when you're a young teen and you're developing and you're unaware of how the design of these games are made to be addictive. It's made to hook you. It's made to keep you in front of that screen all day. And then when you finish the game, oh great, I want to play the next one. So go buy the next one. So that those video game companies make more money based on your addiction. That's how they make money. Based on that dopamine hit and the addiction you get. Smartphone apps are designed the exact same way. They're designed to be addictive. And be aware of that. And yeah, as a young teen, I would sit and play video games all day. There's moments that I remember, I'd be so depressed and bummed out and having conversations with people, and just like I'd be just kind of not there, and I'd just be disconnected. I'd be very detached, and in a lot of ways kind of a little bit socially inept. And that's what kind of video games does. It creates we're not designed to do this. We're not made to do that. My opinion, your opinions are your own, my opinion, and you can think about this, you guys, if you want. You can marinate on this, but it's of my opinion that we're not designed for phones. We're not designed for all this technology. We're not designed for all this. We're designed to be out in the woods. We're designed to be out in nature. We're designed to be out with other animals. And yes, and there is still a food chain, but we are not the food chain anymore. We don't live in the food chain. We're beyond it. We've created our own food chain. We don't have to worry about freaking panther attacking us when we go outside. We don't have to worry about a charging elephant attacking us. Well, depending on what area of the world you live in, but where I live, we have to worry about that. So in these year of lockdown, we're sitting around like, oh gee, what am I gonna do all day? What am I gonna do with my day? I don't know. Well, I guess I'll find a video game to play. And then we sit around and we realize, oh, we're bored of this game. Turn to the next game. And then we'll go to the next game. Then we'll watch something on Netflix. Then we'll watch something on Disney Plus. And we'll download a new app. And it's just like it's never-ending cycle of dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit. And we're not building. We're not actually creating anything. And this may be a little controversial, but this is my opinion. I don't believe in depression for myself. I don't believe, for me, depression, I don't think it's a thing. For me. Just for me. Not at all. I don't think depression works for me. Because I don't believe it's something that affects me. But, let me explain myself why. Mostly because I think we don't make an effort to go out and push ourselves. I allow myself to be sad in certain times. Yes. In the past video I just made, I talked about the loss of my cat. Yes, I'm sad, but I don't allow myself to get depressed. I push myself. I challenge myself all the time. Even in the past year of lockdowns, I knew myself well enough that I need to somehow be creative to keep myself busy. Otherwise, sitting around doing nothing is not productive and brings me down like that. I got to keep myself busy. Back 10,000 years ago, we didn't have to worry about what? About keeping ourselves busy because we're too busy surviving, trying to survive. So we didn't have the goddamn time to think about like, oh, I'm not feeling good today. Oh, I'm feeling a little depressed today. Oh, I don't know what to do today. We didn't have time for that 10,000 years ago. Imagine 10,000 years ago, husband going up to his wife, well, honey, I'm feeling a little down today. I think I'm going to take a day off. And like, well, we don't have food for the kids. Get out there and go hunt that woolly mammoth. You don't have time to sit around and think about how you're feeling all day. You do that, you're dead. And your tribe is dead. And your kids and your wife are dead. Didn't have time for that. I think now we have too much time on our hands and don't have to worry about surviving. And we can just run our lives through our little phones now. And that we have too much time to sit and think and marinate on our problems and just reflect on little things that aren't really that important. Instead of doing what we're meant to do and doing what we're biologically created to do, is to build and create. Which is basically what we did in the digital age. We did create and build a digital age. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Since everything now has come easy for us. Since now we can basically be sitting on the can and ordering food through our phones. It's beneficial in a lot of ways, but it can also hinder us and hinder our development. So it's just something to think about and reflect on and just be aware of it. As easy and as entertaining and enjoyable as all these new technologies are, maybe it's not always great for our mental health. Because remember, all these things and all these apps and all this technology, all these video games, all these streaming services now in what we live in 2021, our globalized age, all these things, all these inventions, it's also made to make money. And you make money based on addiction, based on dopamine hits. It's all based on how do we get people to keep subscribing? How do we get people to keep downloading the new app, the new aged app? How do we get people to keep buying our digital products, our new streaming services? How do we do that? by finding new creative ways to make it more and more addictive. And of being aware that it's very healthy to detach from it, detach your emotions, step away from it, disconnect a little bit, and go out in nature and go out into the woods. And I'm a big advocate of, if you watch my old videos, yeah, I'm a big advocate in getting out there and being in nature and just connecting with the woods, connecting what you're designed to do. And it feels great and it feels wonderful. And the last point I'm going to make is that at the end of the conversation I had with my friend is I was explaining to him how liberated I feel when I go out into the woods. And he looks at me and goes, the fact that you feel liberated and you feel great and you feel so alive when you get into the woods also means you're connected. And he was right. That you're emotionally connected to the world. You're emotionally connected to yourself. You're emotionally connected to other people. Because if you weren't, you get into the woods and get back into the environment you were made to be in, it wouldn't do anything for you. You wouldn't feel a goddamn thing. That means you could be a little disconnected from reality and what's actually going on. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you can hit that like button and subscribe and comment. Follow me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Logan Ryder. Timeless personal growth and development.